If you're worried if the market is recovering too fast right now, given the Middle East conflict, well, in this video, I'm going to cover the most essential stocks that I'm holding, such as Palantir, SoFi, Nvidia, Tesla, the market, like SPY and QQQ, and what you should be doing with your money if you want to make money this week and next week, given the turmoil that's happening right now. There's actually a lot of opportunity in the market to make some money. Let's not waste any time and let's jump into the first stock, Palantir. By the way, I'm doing something new that I haven't done in many months, and that is a boot camp. I have a boot camp starting next Saturday. If you're interested in learning for 6 weeks hands-on with me in a small group setting, then you can schedule a call and learn more about my 6-week boot camp that I have run for many years, that I've taken a break from, that I am now making time for. There's only 10 spots available, and it's going to be a 10-spot boot camp that I'm going to teach you how to multiply your money, create passive income, manage your positions, and a lot of different option strategies for beginners or intermediates as well. Okay, when it comes to Palantir, I basically learned that institutions are thinking about Palantir in a huge way. It's not just retail traders. Everyone is really on board for Palantir, and that's because with the Middle East situation, what's happening there with all the turmoil, Palantir is actually benefiting because Palantir provides data analytics. It provides all the war services, if you will, for basically conflicts. And every single government right now, it seems like the world is basically going into World War III. This is, unfortunate, but Palantir is making money and it's essential to government agencies. It's essential for defense. So this company is only going up, and that's why you will see that if we look at the technical analysis, Palantir is essentially hitting all-time highs. If I go to the chart right now, you will see that Palantir has a very clear trajectory to go to $150 plus per share, and that's basically just the beginning. I still think this stock is going to 2x. It's going to be $200 to $300 stock, at some point in 2026. So a 2x from here means that you can create a lot of money if you're buying leap options or simply just riding the momentum. And that's because Palantir virtually has no competition, guys. I am buying this stock hand over fist, bicep over tricep, because they don't have competition. Essentially, all the governments, especially US government, is dependent on Palantir software for growing, right? There's more customers that Palantir is gaining because governments realize that we need this software. So as soon as they come into the Palantir ecosystem, they're also not leaving. So their government business is incredibly strong, as well as their commercial growth is exploding quarter over quarter. Major funds, by the way, added $1 billion in new positions. So Palantir is essentially, it's pretty wild since I've been covering this stock since IPO. I purchased it. Now it's become a top 10 holding in a lot of the ETFs even, right? Especially technology ETFs. And Alex Karp, the CEO, he's everywhere. He's in private AI summits with world leaders, including Qatar, who gave Donald Trump a $400 million jet. Alex Karp is everywhere, and he's really innovating. So what I see happening here is Palantir hit a peak. We had a little bit of a pullback. You can see here how at $78 per share, you would have actually doubled your money. So it's up double from its lows. Essentially now, it has increased in value, 2x. Now I think the stock will continue to run to 150 plus, and what you can see here is we're actually reaching the top of the Bollinger Band, yet the Bollinger Band itself is also going up. I don't think Palantir really follows any, rules. The stock is going up because of its popularity, because of the obvious conflicts around the world, and how valuable Palantir really is to the government. Not to mention, of course, they have commercial side as well. So this is a unstoppable stock that I really see continuing. And this week, if you want to make money, you have several options. You can sell puts to get a cheaper price. You can do covered calls to basically create some income and get some upside. But either way, Palantir, it's one of my top choices, and I have a lot of confidence in it. Now let's move on from Palantir real quick on SPY and the total market, what I kind of see going on in the total market. I said this for weeks. The market is recovering. The momentum is just boom. Momentum is like bicep over tricep. We're going up and up. And essentially, I think SPY is going to continue to make some all-time highs. Despite the conflicts, you would think that oil prices would go up and the market would go down, yet war is a big financial way to make a bunch of money. So that's how basically some fast money is made, right? Unfortunately, the civilians get they're suffering and the governments are getting rich. And there's just a lot of money in war. So I think S&P is going to go up. We're going to continue to get hitting more all-time highs. That's why I launched the bootcamp. I think the next quarter, the next 2 quarters is going to be very strong. We're going to have a very strong market. So that's another reason I'm doing the bootcamp. I think there's a lot of money to be made. There really is. There really is. If you know what you're doing, if you get into options and you start selling options, even buying some options, there's just a ton of opportunity. That's just really it. War creates opportunity. So if you want to get rich, now is really a good time. So I'm looking forward to the second half here as we get into the second half next week, essentially, of 2025, right? Let's move over into SoFi. I think it's one of the most underrated stocks. Guys, I told you so on this one. I've been talking about SoFi for a long time. It's the most consistent stock that you can have. 21% gains in the past 1 month. Can you imagine? If you had just 100K, you made $21,000, likely more than your job or business, right? Even if you're a high paid engineer, right? $21,000, that's some good money. That's great money. Now, if you look at selling a covered call right now on SoFi, I just told one of my private clients that he should do a 17 covered call. And that's because I see SoFi continuing to run up. It's reaching a very critical area where the momentum just looks beautiful. It just looks delicious. Really, really, it does. And I think we're going to head back up here to the highs of over $17 per share. So as SoFi continues to pick up steam, really I'm buying this bicep over tricep. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And that's because it's the best fintech company that you can invest in. They're not just a bank and they're not just tech. They're both. Right? So that's what makes them so strong. My position is growing in SoFi. I plan to buy some more this week. So this is urgent. This is an urgent video. You are missing out if you are not investing properly right now. You are missing out. We got 21% gains in a month, okay? And people don't fully understand the model that SoFi is running. They're not just a lender. It's becoming a tech rails platform, okay? What that means is they have smart start loans, which are taking market share very fast. They have SoFi origination loans from other banks and credit unions, and basically they take a zero credit risk, right? So what this looks like is they are transferring some customers and saying, hey, I have a lead. Do you want to make money on this lead? Let's make money together. So they transfer the lead and then they get paid because they're so good at acquiring customers. They can essentially affiliate market, which is basically finding clients and then selling those clients to someone else, and then you're kind of like the platform that takes a fee. It was a very popular business model, still is, right? It's called affiliate marketing. And why this is so strong for SoFi is they have off-balance sheet growth, right? So they're not really having a bunch of money on their balance sheet and then loaning out that money, and now basically it's kind of like a ratio. No, this is just pure money coming out of nowhere. It's just literally out of nowhere, right? So it increases all the margins, it increases the profitability of the business. It makes the business look completely different. It makes the business look more like a platform. So rather than, the business looking like a bank, it now has a combination of so many income streams. And one of those income streams is really that affiliate marketing where they send business elsewhere, but then they still get income from that client that they essentially referred. So they have lots of products and now they have off-balance sheet growth as well. So I'm telling you, that's something that a lot of people don't really understand. Now they also are doing well with Galileo plus SoFi plus, their embedded banking business, and that's really dominating. So really, I want you not to forget, SoFi now makes money in so many different ways that this is a multi-cash flow business. Many businesses are, but they're in different niches in a way. So they are collecting income from referrals. They're collecting income from different products, from loan products, from interest products, from credit cards, from refinancing, right? So they have a lot of ways to make money, and they're the best in the business at acquiring new clients. And look, it's all about acquiring clients. That's what the whole game is about in the whole world, right? Most products are not the best, right? I make my coaching the best because I believe in providing a good service for someone. However, most businesses don't do that. They're just really focused on the marketing, and you can see that across big businesses as well as even a bunch of course seller gurus and stuff like that. They talk a big game, the products suck, right? SoFi is not like that. They have the best of all worlds. They have cost of acquisition is low, marketing is great, sales is great, product is great. Customers are actually referring. That's one of the most powerful ways as well. SoFi is getting free customers from referrals. So anyways, I won't talk too much about SoFi. It's just freaking amazing company. Let's move on. And by the way, here's the technical chart real fast. Let me actually show you the technical chart on SoFi. Let me just dig in here a little bit deeper. You can see here how we're at the top of the Bollinger Band. Again, this would be a warning sign. However, given that war is money, the market market now is likely to break out from a lot of these, from a lot of the Bollinger Band, and the momentum is breaking out. Okay, let's move over into Nvidia. Nvidia, again, another stock. I said to a lot of my members, buy Leaps, hold Leaps. Leaps now are printing money. They're printing money. Nvidia, they had a really nice catalyst with Saudi Arabia, right? So while the media watches China and they talk about the negatives, you know, oh, China is going to hurt Nvidia. Well, Saudi Arabia is really writing the next chapter for the AI boom for Nvidia. Like, they are making money with Saudi Arabia in the Middle East right now. So the news is kind of following China, but Saudi Arabia, Middle East is making money. It's making good money on Nvidia. So Nvidia is entering a deep partnership with Saudi Arabia for AI projects, right? Saudi Arabia wants to be the next Silicon Valley of the Middle East. So Middle East is really growing right now, guys. I've traveled myself. I was in Dubai. Now I'm in Cyprus, you know, which is kind of like very close to Turkey, half the island, kind of Greek, Turkish. But anyways, I've been in some Middle East areas, and it's really crazy what's going on, guys. America kind of on a little bit of the decline, not a little bit, maybe a lot of struggles, and other parts of the world are really growing right now. There's a lot of globalization happening, which is very important for you to invest in, because the U.S. dollar may be weakening, right? In the U.S. economy, I'm still bullish on U.S. Don't get me wrong. It's still, I think, the best country in the world. There's just a lot of opportunities. So you should be invested in other countries as well. Really, Nvidia is going to be making money from other countries. So you don't really have to look elsewhere, because a lot of these companies are profiting from overseas anyways. So you're good. You're pretty much good there. But I want to point out that the growth overseas is incredible opportunity for Nvidia. And this could be $100 billion region opportunity for Nvidia. So we're talking about, China is difficult, right? China is difficult. We're losing money there. But look, the future is very bright. The future is very bright for Nvidia. So I am looking forward to Nvidia making some money from overseas. And look, if you look at the earnings, if you look at the PE ratio, if you look at 2028, it's trading for 17 times, right? 17 times is well below the S&P 500. So in just a few years, this is going to be a deep value stock, meaning that it's likely not going to become a deep value stock because the price will continue to go up. So I think that if you look at the company from a valuation standpoint, it is really cheap, and owning the company right now will give you sufficient growth going into the future. Now, I think Nvidia can be a $200 stock. So I think there's still more juice to squeeze from the lemon, right? And if you look at the chart right here, essentially we're headed to 150 easily, and that's going to be an all-time high for Nvidia. Like, we have not really been higher than, of course, split adjusted at this point in time, really above the 150 level. So as we hit a new all-time high, I think only more investors are going to say, hey, it's clear that regardless of the time, regardless of the situation in the world, and even if there's a pullback, a mini crash, there's just still a lot of opportunity for Nvidia. There's a lot of opportunity. Like, you can see how this stock pulled down under 100, and now you're up over 50% had you bought it at the lows that it was trading at for just a couple of months ago. So you guys need to understand that the market is a wealth building machine. There is a really clear trajectory to getting rich, and that's how I've done it. I've grown my portfolio, basically $4 million, and now I'm taking on a lot less risk because I've already taken on a lot of risk throughout the time that I've spent. But if I wanted to, I could probably get this portfolio to $10 million in a decade, right? So there is a lot of growth. There's a lot of opportunity for you to make money trading options, investing in the stock market. And yeah, again, I'm just very excited because I think so many of you guys will be able to quit your job, to have the freedom to retire, especially if you're subscribed to the channel, if you're listening to the stuff I'm talking about, because the stocks that I'm picking have made millionaires, okay? Maybe in a single week, some people complain, but you have to literally be out of your mind to not be in these stocks that have been making millionaires. The proof is literally in the pudding by them being at all-time highs right now. And I was talking about it at all, before for months and years already about these stocks, all right? So let's go to the next stock, Tesla, all right? So Tesla, very interesting. Right now, the squeeze is real. Tesla has some very interesting price action, and I think short sellers are feeling a lot of pain. Short sellers are feeling agony, right? the stock did pull down, right? It had definitely a detractor. But here, believe it or not, this doesn't look that big, right? But when you have a bunch of short sellers, basically thinking that the stock's going to continue to go down, some people are crazy enough to think Tesla's a $100 stock. They're crazy. Boom, Tesla just skyrockets a lot here from 250 basically to 350, and that's a 40% gain. Okay, short sellers are in pain right now because as the stock moves up, short sellers have to cover their positions. So there was a squeeze in the stock. Now we have some really good news because on June 22nd, just a couple of days ago, Tesla launched a limited robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas, with 10 to 20 modified Model Y vehicles operating in a geo-fence zone in a controlled area, and they're charging a flat $4.20 per ride. That's wild. $4.20 per ride. Can you imagine? Take a taxi, it just drives itself. $4. That's crazy. So I'm very excited for the rollout of more robo-taxis. And look, I also think unsupervised FSD, which is coming by the end of 2025, it's gonna be a thing, okay? Right now, you can't imagine, especially you older guys, a lot of you guys that I work with, 50 years old, 60 years old. You can't imagine getting into a car where it drives itself, but that will be the future. That will absolutely be the future because it's cheaper, it makes economical sense, and it'll be safer as well. So Elon Musk reiterated that unsupervised or hands off, like your hands are off, okay? You could be doing bicep curls, tricep curls while the car drives itself, right? You can be free to be more productive. So hands-off FSD will be released to the general public by essentially somewhere at the end of this year. And going into next year, we are going to see a lot of growth in Tesla. I'm very excited for Tesla. And again, I think it could be a $400 stock this year. $400 per share. It can happen, right? When the stock was 200, people were calling me an idiot. But hey, look right now. The stock is doing all right, and it's going to continue to do pretty good regardless of politics, which I don't care about. I'm just trying to make you some money. And Tesla is a good bet given FSD. Okay, and a lot of the tech and software that they are producing, right? Now, to wrap it up with the overall market and technicals of the market, as well as the tech space specifically, because I do cover a lot of tech stocks. That's where the growth is at. That's where I see a lot of growth when I work with clients in my one-on-one program. And that's my plan for the boot camp as well, is to really find where the opportunities are in tech, how to invest in them, what leap options to buy, and give those plays an education during the boot camp. Will essentially be a lot of tech, right? So my tech prediction is the Fed, by the way, will help tech because they're probably going to cut rates. That's going to only help tech because tech is high growth, and all that future cash flow is very valuable. It was more valuable today when interest rates are lower. So I think there's going to be a lot of rocket fuel for growth stocks, specifically tech. US tech is now a national defense priority, by the way, with all the conflicts. So a lot of these tech companies, they're a priority. We need to invest in them. They have to grow or America will lose. America is only right now even competing with some of the other world powers because they have amazing tech companies. We wouldn't be where we're at without Nvidia, without Apple, without Microsoft, without Google. These are the companies that are driving the American economy. Okay, believe it or not, these companies are providing so many jobs and they're really essential. So it's basically a bet on America. These tech companies are a bet on our domestic economy, and a lot of money is flowing into them because it's an obvious play. So if you don't want to get more poor relative to other people due to inflation, you got to be invested in these tech companies, and of course you have to properly pick them as well. Don't underestimate AI, and definitely don't underestimate the combination of AI plus a lower interest rate. We can be in an even more bullish market than you have ever seen before. With given war, given AI, and given interest rate combo, we're in a very strong market. So I'm looking forward to helping you guys. Make sure you're subscribed and click the first link, schedule a free consultation to learn more about my bootcamp. There's only 10 spots available, so take action. It's starting next Saturday. So you got here about a week to learn about the program and get started with me. I'm looking forward to your success, looking forward to helping you, and I'll catch you in the next video.